At age 6, your child can probably dress itself, tie its own shoelaces, and depending on which country you live in, it has already started or is about to start school. By age 8, it will completely understand a certain kind of physics, which we will get to. If you want your child to do well in school, make sure it sleeps 9 to 12 hours a day. Any less and your child's educational achievement will probably be impaired permanently. Your child needs to keep up this sleep regime, gradually shortening the amount of sleep until it is 12. Skimp on sleep before puberty and the damage might be permanent. When I was a psychologist, it wasn't known why mammals sleep. Now it is known. During sleep, toxins are washed out of the brain into the cerebrospinal fluid. You really don't want to skimp on sleep at any stage of your life, because chronic sleep deprivation is correlated with brain disease and might be caused by neural toxins. At school, children meet each other, make friends, and start thinking about how they fit in the world. It is a time of rapid mental development. By the age of 8, many children have feelings about what work they want to do as grown-ups. Most child prodigies don't succeed, but the few that do have usually taken the first practical step by age 8. Tule won a national guitar contest at age 7 and was accepted into a music conservatory. From the outside, it looks like her life followed a straight path to concert guitarist. From her point of view, I'm sure there were many twists and turns. There always are. When I started school, it became painfully obvious that I'm dyslexic. I am dyslexic in every language I know except Akka, which doesn't have a written form. There's no way to learn Akka because there are no learning materials, but it is possible to acquire it. If you want to speak Akka, speak. For me, dyslexia was a total pain. But since I retired and started watching YouTube, probably more than is good for me, I've learnt that there are benefits to being dyslexic. Apparently, dyslexics are better at seeing the big picture and thinking outside something called a box. I'm not sure what thinking inside a box is, but I'm astronomically good at thinking big thoughts. I sometimes solve really complicated problems by seeing the solution in a flash. I can't say dyslexia has made me happy. It hasn't. It's made me very unhappy. But it has led to my greatest achievement, working out how to divide by zero in a consistent way that extends all of our mathematics and physics. I think of dyslexia as the ace of clubs. It's black, which is a bad thing, think black magic, and it beats you over the head. But it's also a good thing. It gives superpowers to its possessor. Dyslexia is an ace because it could count as 1 or it could be the biggest score possible. Yes, when I went to school, I discovered life had dealt me the ace of clubs, dyslexia. I went to a small church school. There were just 9 pupils when I started and about 30 when I left, age 8. Miss Dobson would send the young children home early, then teach everyone else together. After the first collective lesson, she would set the middle-aged children to reading a book while she taught the old children advanced material. I couldn't read, so I just pretended and listened instead to the old children. That is how I learned algebra. I had a happy childhood until life dealt me the ace of spades. I was abused. My emotions started to shut down and I became a child-shaped hole in the world. A black hole, a nullity. In my loneliness, I turned to Doctor Who for comfort. He was a man who could defeat all kinds of monsters. Doctor Who was a man who could defeat all kinds of monsters by using science. I decided to be a scientist. From the outside, I had no advantages. From the inside too, I had no advantages. But life had already dealt me a face-down card. My church school was conservative. Any organisation that celebrates the life of a man who died 2,000 years ago is conservative. We even used Roman numerals to show what hymn to sing next. Miss Dobson taught the Arithmetica Universalis. In a concession to modernity, she taught it in English. The Arithmetica Universalis is the algebra and arithmetic that Isaac Newton. The Arithmetica Universalis is the algebra and arithmetic that The Arithmetica Universalis is the algebra and arithmetic that The Arithmetica Universalis is the algebra and arithmetic that The Arithmetica Universalis is the algebra and arithmetic that The Arithmetica Universalis is the algebra and arithmetic that Isaac Newton used. If it was good enough for Isaac Newton, it should have been good enough for us. But Sir Isaac Newton lived 2 centuries before real arithmetic, which we use today, was invented. Real arithmetic doesn't allow division by 0. I blame the Germans for that, as I'll explain in a later video. But the Arithmetica Universalis does allow division by 0. It gave Newton the means to solve physical problems at singularities that today's physicists can't solve. I'll get to that in a later video. Subscribe to Transmathematica so you don't miss it. In the shape of the Arithmetica Universalis, life had dealt me the 2 of diamonds, a low card in the suit of science that would lead to the straight flush of transmathematics. Oh yes, before I forget, by the age of 8, children have usually grasped naive physics. They know instinctively how the physical world works. They can ride a bicycle, play throw and catch, and they feel the conservation of volume and momentum. Through skinned knees and cracked heads, they appreciate gravitational acceleration. At age 8, children have the real-life experience to support an understanding of theoretical physics, and they're starting to think abstractly. By age 8, most children have a concept of infinity, though Neil deGrasse Tyson got there at 5. He is a famous science communicator in our former colony, the United States of America. I'll put a link in the description below to his YouTube channel, Star Talk. Think about your life. What did you know in the early years of primary school?